Welcome back to episode 7 in the Director of Football Challenge here in Kolding IF, where we just finished season 2 and yet again got big decisions and transfers to make in this summer transfer window. As last year, Lasse Holmgaard's contract is running out in this summer, so we got a bit of things to talk about, I guess. Are we going to keep him or is he gonna go? To me, I think he stays, right? I think he stays, but that depends on how much he demands in wages. But in terms of how well he did, I fully back him. I fully back him as the manager. I think we can negotiate, if we can negotiate a fair deal, I think we would like to keep him. I mean, he even did better this season than last season. I mean, he got one more point, right? His winning rate are not going down either. He might not get quite enough draws compared to losses, but still, I think he is the man for at least one more season here. I think he deserves to get one more season. So let's go in and see if we can get him. All right, so he is right now on 275. He wants a 2-year deal. I'm not sure I like that. I think I'm okay with 300, but I don't really like to give him a 2-year deal because I'm not sure we want to keep him for 2 years. So maybe we can get him on this. He's going right back up to 300. Actually, let's just lock that in on 1 year because I don't really want him for more than that. We want a top division promotion wage rise. I think we can give him, or we can't give him anything. The board is not allowing us to do that. Remove and exclude that. So 300 1 year. He's going up to 375 for 1 year. I'm gonna lock this in on orange on 325. I wouldn't mind giving him, 50 more here, but it got to be 50 more, not 75 more. There we go. 325. That is what he's gonna get, and that also means that we know that we are gonna keep him now. We got a lot of players that are running out of contract this summer, and I have highlighted all of them right here. Of course, we got the loan deals, Fleu and Talar. I would actually like to keep them, but I don't think we're going to get them. Delhande, he's going to be retiring sooner. He's already being released. Vetra is being released. Killerich, I could see us giving him a new contract, but it depends on how much he wants. It's not going to be anywhere near the 700 he gets now. Powell's already leaving for another club. Vendelier, maybe. Again, 975 is too much for a backup. I'm not going to pay that kind of money next year. Tadesi, he wants to explore other options. Carl is being released. Nothingale, I would like him, but again, exploring other options. Snappe is a youngster, and I would like to give him a new contract, along with a lot of other players in the B team that are youngsters that I would like to see being kept here, or maybe out on loan or something like that, because we are going to be hopefully relying a little bit more on youngsters next season. And some very good overall quality players, of course. Stefan Lund, he's one of those as well as Snappe. We would probably like to keep him, but it's not very, I mean, it depends on the negotiations. Monk and Randolph is also going to be leaving us, of course, on their loan deals. And in terms of the players that do still have a contract with us moving out of this summer period, we have a couple here and there, of course. Now, first one here, in J, I think I might want to sell him. He might not be good enough. Vest, same sort of deal. He's now 21, so he's not a youngster anymore. I am not sure he's good enough, but he could be a backup. Ingvarsson, I think he proved that he is good enough. He's just a little bit injury prone, but he is right now playing on an important player, agreed playing time, which is not great to me. Bossen, I don't think he's going to be good enough. He's likely going to go out on loan. Ngongo, he is probably going to be a backup. Mosser, very, very good goalkeeper. Very happy to have him staying. Tasik, I think we're okay with him. I'm not sure he's going to be, the starter, but he's definitely good as a backup to have. Harbo, I mean, he didn't play. He had an injury. He's actually still injured here. That is, I mean, he is on an important player agreed time. So if he's fit, he's going to be staying in. That's for sure. Carlson is a backup. He could go out on loan, but we will see how that goes. And Sommer, the captain, he is also going to be here for at least half a season. Actually, the last 4 of them is only here for half a season, so we might have an issue there as well. But that is the player staying. Instead of using the squad planner that honestly, I don't like it that much, I am going to use this spreadsheet I created instead. It might be a little bit confusing, so let me explain about all the colors and numbers and you know, stuff like that. But it is some basic formatting. It's nothing crazy. It's just maybe a little bit hard when you see it the first time. So, and it is just to give us a basic idea of positional strength and where we might need some. It's basically like the squad planner, but in a different way. At least this is better for me. It might not be for you guys, but let me explain. Green numbers equal good. That's very easy to understand. Orange equal average, and red equals bad. Okay, and that's the colors you see out here, of course. BRS, that means best roll score. Best roll score is something we can see right here in the AML role. So best roll score. All right, and this is the total attribute score, TAS. So these two are in here, and they are combined into this BRS plus TAS to give us a number. Now, these numbers is something I'm getting from the FM data labs. Actually, the TAS is just average. It's just the average numbers of all their attribute numbers. And the roll score is something that I get from the FM data labs. I'll leave a link in the description to that. But yeah, it is probably something you already know about. And there is, of course, also some text formatting here. So bold text is important key players. We can see it right here on summer. We also have normal text, which is just squad rotation of fringe players, like dissect right here. We also have italic text, which is the youngsters. We have the strike through, which is some of those that might be sold or loaned out. And we also have the brackets here, like we see in summer as well, is someone running out of contract in the winter. Right, so that's the whole thing, except from, of course, understanding the. So this is basically our formation. We got a striker up front, the AML, the AMR, MCL, MCR, DM, fullback left, the two central defenders, fullback right, and the goalkeeper. So it's basically the 4-3-3 that our manager wants to play with. So it's like the squad planner, but just with more numbers, more color schemes, and stuff like that. I visualize this better than the squad planner, so that's why I'm doing it. So let's take a look at this and see where our strengths are right now and where we might need something in the transfer. Let's go with the goalkeeper first down here. We got the goalkeeper Moser, and that's about it, but he is also a very good goalkeeper. Now, we do have one youngster who potentially will sign a contract, and if he do, I'll show you that he signed the contract. But there is a lot of youngsters that could sign contracts that might come in here. But right now, we don't know if he's gonna stay, and if he's gonna stay, well, maybe he will be the third option. So I didn't explain this, but this is the first line here is of course the best one we want. That's the key or important player. The second one is a squad player, and that could also be a youngster, right? And the third one is potentially a youngster. And I am probably going even further into quality over quantity in the next season. So we might not have squad players per se in every single spot, but I would like to see them filled out by someone who is more versatile and can play many different roles. And we definitely got one player in that is gonna be like that. So yeah, goalkeeper area is it. Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully we get at least one of our youngsters to stay. We got a couple of goalkeepers as youngsters, so just one of those, and I think we would be okay. I don't really want to spend too much wages on a backup, so I think we just keep Moser and hope he don't get injured. that's about how I think about it. So fullback left area, we have absolutely nothing. So that is definitely an area where we need to find something. We don't have a youngster even, so yeah, same with the central defender on the left hand side. Technically Lund could play down here, but I don't want him to because he got really terrible jumping reads. So and also not that great in the air, generally speaking. So that is definitely also an area we need to look at for transfers for sure. Central defender on the right hand side, on the other hand, looks fairly decent. We got Terzic. His contract is running out, and yeah, not this summer, but in the winter. That's because of the bracket here. We can tell. We can tell because of the bracket contract running out in winter. So we only have him for half a year unless we are giving him a new contract, and I'm not sure about that yet. Then we got a new player coming in, Tomaselli. We did see him in the last episode, and yeah, he looks like a decent central defender. He's in orange, which is very average, and for a youngster, that's good, right? If they are average as a youngster, that's solid for me. So he might be okay as a backup for Terzic. I think I'm okay with that. On the fullback right-hand side here, we basically have 2 youngster options right now. We have Carlson probably as the best option. Also he's the option that is probably likely going to be the one going forward a lot more. Where Tomaselli can also play out here. He's not terrible, but he's probably a little bit worse than playing as a central defender. But like I said, having some versatility is going to be key for us moving forward. And having Tomaselli who can play out here as well will likely be it. I got this guy in a bracket because his contract is also running out in the winter. So yeah, I think we might need a key fullback as well, because we can't really rely too much on youngsters here to do the heavy lifting for us, right? Next up, defensive midfielders. So basically the same thing, but just a little bit worse. Tomaselli, I think he might even be better in the midfield or defensive midfield than he are as a central defender or fullback. So that's why I got him on the second spot here. Just generally speaking, he could be a really good signing, but he could also be really bad. But he looks fairly promising as a youngster. So definitely need a key player in there as well. And then maybe we have Tomaselli as a backup in there as well. But time will tell, but definitely a key player there as well, or important player. That is needed. Where we are probably most versatile is in the midfield, generally speaking, here in the central midfield. So on the right-hand side, we got Harbo. His contract is running out in the winter, but if he keeps fit for the first part of the season, we're likely going to give him a new contract. If it's not, too much of a price increase, but we'll see about that. Then we also got a guy coming in called Gustina, who is also a youngster. He will be playing on we don't need to actually register him because he's still only 20. So that is a youngster, but he's a fairly decent youngster, and I think I think this right-hand side is okay. It isn't great, but it is definitely better than last season. Or if Harbo and Gustina is gonna be fit for the entire thing, it's gonna be way better than last season. Left-hand side, it's basically the same as last season. It's gonna be Sommer and Vest. Vest is, of course, he's not a youngster anymore, and he's like one of those there. We could potentially actually do this to him, because if someone is coming in for him or someone wants to loan him, I might lean toward just loaning him out or selling him, because he's 21, so he needs to be registered, and I think we could upgrade on him. And also giving some competition to Sommer might be a good idea, though Sommer is a very good player. It might be something we want to look at. Or bringing in another youngster, something like that. But overall, pretty good in the midfield, I would say. AML. Now that's an interesting area, because we do have Ingvarsson, and he is on a important kind of agreed playing time, right? He do have that in him. He did show some really, really promising signs when he did play last season, but he also had a very long injury. So good thing we do have a backup coming in that is also right around his numbers. That is dissect. So we have 2 players over there that, they are probably both sort of squad players. But yeah, and then we have NJ, which I would like to sell NJ if I can. He actually got a 2-year contract still, but if we could get rid of him, I think it would be preferred. I don't think he's good enough, and I don't think he will ever be good enough. He's 27 now, so we might as well try and see if we can get something for him. Maybe loan him out to get a bit off the wage bill. And if not, well, we're just going to have an extra player in the AML role. And NJ could technically also play on the other side. And when we go to the other side, we definitely need a key player over here. Ngongo is, of course, going to be there. His contract is still going for another year's time, but I don't really see him as anything but a squad option, squad player. Dissect is probably good enough to go over there as well, but it depends on NJ. If NJ is staying, he's probably going to be the third option over here. Again, we don't have any youngsters in these areas, and this is probably an area where we should improve. The AMR, we should probably improve here. Have a really good player coming in, and hopefully we can find that. But yeah, it also depends on how much we have in wages, because I am always going to look toward the defense first, then the midfield, and then the attacking midfield, and then lastly the strikers. But I do think if we need any chance of getting a promotion, we do need one good striker, and we might not need more than that. Maybe one good striker coming in could be enough, because they usually, if they can stay fit and score 20 goals, then we got a deal. But we need something better than Carl last season. Carl was it was a gamble, and it was awful, right? It wasn't good. Ngongo can play up here. He has done that last season as well a couple of times. Bossen, I don't think he's gonna be good enough ever. I would like to loan him out to get him some more playtime in a maybe second division in Denmark or something like that. That would be good for him, I guess. But I don't think he's gonna be good enough. He is 19 now, I believe. Yeah, he's 19. So I don't think he's gonna be good enough. No, I don't. So we got a lot of work to do here. Absolutely, we got a lot of work to do. There is a lot of space, a lot of places. First, striker, AMR. Oh, well, we need a striker. We need an AMR. We need a DM. We need a fullback and something that can play over here after that as well. Same deal in the CDL, and we'll probably also need a key man on the right-hand side. Fullback. There's so many. We need like 6-7 players, and all of them need to be of a higher quality, like important player. That's what we're gonna go look for now. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting summer. So there we are. That's my new squad kind of thing, and yeah, I will show you how this looks at the end of when we end this episode. I will show you this again to see where we stand in all of this. Hopefully it's gonna look a whole lot better. In terms of the finances, that is very important, isn't it? We are currently 1 million down, but we haven't gotten the full extent of our prize money from the competitions, so it should be okay. We are currently spending 26, but that's going down to 20.7, which means we got around 7k for those 7 players that 7-8 players that we are looking for. So only 1,000 wages per player basically. That is maybe gonna be a problem, isn't it? It is gonna go up to 28k per week next season, and that is the season we're going into, so that might be okay. Now, in terms of a couple of things I also want to mention in here is if we go into this part here, not the taxes, but if we take a look at the staff wages for this season compared to last season, half, right? Half of it. Like I said, it is half of it. I mean, we do have another month here, but technically speaking, it's still like 50% or something like that. Actually, it's more than 50. It's 100%, isn't it? Almost 100% down in terms of wage budget. That is very good. Now, we are spending a little bit more on player wages, and there is definitely a couple of things here that we are spending a little bit more money on. In terms of income, I think we had a fundraiser last season. Gate recipes, we had a fundraiser, didn't we? It does say it somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, fundraising, right? We had 200k of fundraising last season. We don't have that this season. So that's another reason why our summary or overall balance is maybe a little bit lower right now than compared to last time. But projection is showing good signs, right? We are probably going to be profitable in the long run with the things or how we are running it. So that is, of course, going to be important. Another thing that I actually knew about from the get-go of the game that I just kind of forgot to show you guys, we do have debt. We do have a bank loan, and we are in debt, and that's another reason why it's so hard to get into a better balance, right? We do have 1.7 in debt. That is a significant, I mean, it's not crazy numbers, but it is a significant amount to do with here, and it's taking away the profit, of course. But yeah, just to show you that we do actually have that and had that from the get-go. Kasper Rasmussen, Stefan Lund, Valdemar Poulsen, and also Leon Begg. Some of the youngsters from the last year's intake have signed a new contract. They do have a small upgrade in wage, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, we do have some of the youngsters being kept around for another year's time. We got the first signing of the transfer window. It is a loan deal for a 16-year-old central defender on a very cheap deal for us on only 325 euros. Jonas Jensen, let's accept it. And I really only have one issue with him coming in on this contract, is that the agreed playing time is important player. But take a look at him. He is very good for a 16-year-old, and he even played in the Nordic Bet Liga this season. I think he is going to be very, very, very good. How and why are we playing it? So this is the thing, right? He got a very strong left foot, and that's why I got him, right? He can play on the left-hand side, but he can also play on the right-hand side. He can even go up and play as a striker. I didn't even see that before now, but that's kind of interesting. Anyway, I think he's gonna be second choice. We don't have another first choice right now, so right now he is first choice on the left-hand side, but I think he's gonna become the preferred bench player in both places, right? Central defender, both places, second choice. And the second one coming in is gonna be Tony Klingenberg. Now, what a name that is. What a name that is. A 17-year-old promising striker. I can tell you one thing, he is a very promising striker. 1.4k, so a little bit more than, you know, what our average is about to become, but that central defender was really, really cheap, so I guess this is making up for it. Now, he is also coming in on that important play time, but I can tell you already now, he's going to be a star player, so it's not even... the only thing is that he's going to be played as a deep line forward, because that is going to be the preferred role that the club want, AGF want him to be played as. I'm not too sure how good that is, but I could not get them to do anything else, and I definitely want this guy, because let's take a look at him. He is very good for this level. Let's just say that. And I can see why they want him to play as a deep line forward. I was thinking more pressing forward, but hey, who am I to, you know, deny AGF the deep line forward being played here? Because I think he could be okay as a deep line forward. He got the flair, passing, and technique. And it also opens up for those inside forwards to run in behind him. So I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But of course, that's not really our duty. It's of course Lasse Holmgaard's duty to play him as a deep line playmaker or deep line forward. Will he do that? I hope so, because he's not really a advanced forward or target forward. So he's a very different kind of player. But I mean, I think we can see here that there is something about this guy. Did he score a lot of goals? I didn't actually check it. I was just like, oh, I got that. Yep, I'll take him. Thank you. The only thing I actually was noticing that he had no heading reach, or he do have the jumping reach, but no heading. So that's kind of the only worry about him. Let's take a look at his career stats here for AGF. So he scored 9 goals in 33 non-competitive, but he did go ahead and do 7 assists as well. And I think he will be a very key element to getting assists rather than scoring goals. And that will also just goal contribution, right? Goal contribution, then I'm happy. What I also just noticed here down here, he did play in the Under-20s World Cup and he did quite well in that one. That is very interesting. That is actually very, very interesting. So he is an international, this guy, an under-20 international, and he seems to be doing quite well in there. I couldn't be happier. I think this is a very good deal for us, and I doubt we would be able to find a better striker than him. Yet another loan deal. To make it 3 out of possible 3, I think you get the memo by now. And again, it is coming from FCK. I believe the other guy also came from FCK. Hunter Nemeth. Easily going to be one of the best players in our squad. Oh yes. So I got no worries about him having the important playing time here. He is gonna get that. Now he's also gonna be the top earner at the club at 1.8k. He's basically taking up 2 players' wages here. Am I worried about that? Maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna take him anyway, because it is also a spot in the defensive midfield where we really, really need a good player. Getting a really good player here is such an incredible, important thing to have in there. He will be played as a deep line playmaker, which I'm a little bit concerned about, but I think the quality is easy to spot. He do not have the marking. So he is definitely more going forward and more of a deep line playmaker type. But I think this guy, if he can stay fit and just play, oh boy, is he gonna, you know, do things. He's a very, very, very good player for this level. Especially for us, he's a very good player, right? Another thing is that he's inconsistent, but when they're young, it's like, I don't know if I want to really say anything about that. It's more if they're injury prone, then I'm worried about it. Or have a really, actually, was he fickle? Nah, he's fairly ambitious, right? He's fairly ambitious. But yeah, it's 6.89 as a deep line playmaker. I don't know if he actually played as a deep line playmaker. Let's check that out. Yeah, deep line playmaker. He didn't play a lot. Let's check out if we can see something in friendlies. Seems like reserve squad maybe. Didn't really play that many, but the ones that he did play in, he was a deep line playmaker. So yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. So yeah, a very, very, very... I think he's easily the best player at the club right now as an 18-year-old. Very, very happy again about this deal. Nikolai Bossen is guaranteed to go out on loan now. That is, well, good for him, I would say. It might leave us a little bit empty up top, but I still think this is the right thing to do. Erwin Suftik is coming in. He is a 23-year-old center back with a left foot on 975 wages and on a agreed playing time of fringe player, running a year. So not a loan deal this time around. Let's accept it and take a look at him. He is nothing special. He is a backup to probably the other guy we got in, Jensen, in the central defender area on the left hand side, and also probably gonna be a sort of a backup on the fullback area. I think he could potentially be okay as a fullback out there, like a defensive fullback. I think he would be okay on that kind of spot. The board have allowed us to get one more scout to a total of 4 now, and also one more staff with a bit of convincing. Very, very good. We also had quite a couple of contracts running out in our staff area, so this is how it looks right now. So we actually got quite a few different roles in here. So the first one is this guy, Kenneth Christensen, a new coach coming in, and he is just an all-round kind of coach, but very important to notice. He do have the goalkeeping coaching kind of things here, because he only cost 350, and any kind of goalkeeping coach I could get was like 900. So that is how I do it. We are pretty average in goalkeeping kind of things. We were a little bit higher before, but on the other hand, we are really much higher than we were before in many of the other areas. So that's why I did it that way. So that's Christensen. The other one that got in is this guy, Alexander Gant, a Swedish staff member. The main reason to actually get him in is actually his fitness and just attacking as well. Those two attributes is the main key elements to why I got him, because I wanted our fitness way higher than it was before. It was really, really low before. Now it's way higher up, also because of this guy coming in, a fitness coach. So 12 in fitness on him, level of discipline. Not the best, fitness coach ever, but he will definitely do the job here. And I think fitness is gonna be, it was definitely my main thing to get up. That was the thing I wanted to really specifically get up, and we got that done. We are above average now. Also a new scout, of course, 275 pounds. Just, more scouting done. So we are spending more for sure. We're probably spending around the same number as when we came into the club, but our staff are 10 times better. So there is that. We also have a new head physio over here with 18 physio. So definitely our scouts and physios are probably the best in the league now. All right, so a bit of a dramatic development here. Ingvarsson is leaving us. He's actually, he came in and told us that he was exploring new options at the end of his contract, and I was having none of that. So I put him up for sale right away. And would you have it, there is an Icelandic team, I cannot pronounce that, but yeah, an Icelandic team coming in for him. It is a loan deal, but oh boy, is it beneficial when it comes to finances. 7.94k playing or unused. 50% of the wages as well. And if we are really, really, really lucky here, 210k in optional future fee plus the 175 in installments, but that's only if he does, or if they trigger that. But even then, this is still like that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for us. So we will accept that and find a new winger and also a new fullback, because he was kind of we definitely need a winger on the left and a fullback on the left now. But yeah, I will take the money all day long here, and goodbye Ingvarsson. We got a signing, hopefully all gold this time. He is a 33-year-old right back, Phil Upfusu-Iya, maybe that's how you pronounce it. I think I'm just gonna call him Iya. Coming in on 1.2k wages as a regular starter on the right hand side of our fullback area. Let's go in and check him out. Let's accept it and let's go in and check him out. I think he's good, but I also said that about the last one we got in that was 33. But hey, there is one thing about this guy, and you probably already have seen it, or maybe you haven't. It's a bit of a chance for me, but there is not a lot of fullbacks out there. For some reason, it's just really hard to find fullbacks in the Danish leagues. I don't know why. He's an injury prone. Yeah, I said I didn't want to do it, and he is the regular starter, but I did it anyway. Now, how much of an injury prone is he? Quite a lot. But they're not, he hasn't had a really bad one for a couple of years. He had one last season for a dislocated shoulder, but that's a shoulder. He had a twisted knee. Yeah, I'm more worried about these, but they are not inside the game. That is something that is, from in real. It might not be as bad as I think it is, but it could also be really bad. Hopefully, cross your fingers that this guy is just gonna play all season, because I mean, our backup on that spot it's nowhere near his qualities. His qualities are definitely there compared to there. So, and otherwise he's just good, right? He got all the physicals, he got all the mentals, he even got the crossing and the long throws. Long throws. That's kind of an interesting one. I don't think we're gonna use that, but whatever. He's just a good player, right? Except from that injury-prone thing. Otherwise, he looks fantastic. Another fullback is coming in this time on the left-hand side, and that was very much needed. Matthias Höst, 26 years of age, 1.3 wages. That might be a little bit more than I actually wanted to give him, but at least he's on a fringe playing time. So yeah, I do think this is gonna be the regular starter on the left hand side. So yeah, and again, fullbacks have been an issue to find. This is probably the best I could find, and the good thing is no injury prone, no consistency issues or anything like that. Actually, did I check up on his career stats? No, I didn't. I didn't even check this. So he played in the Nordic Bet Liga last season, 12 games plus, it was mostly sub, but he did all right, it seems. 6.8 is not bad. And fairly good in non-competitive as well. Then he moved down. He actually moved down to Nestville. But yeah, it's probably the best player I could find. Very good crossing, at least. Very good physicals as well. That's very important. But I would say maybe right now this is maybe our weak spot on the left-hand side overall. But yeah, anyhow, I am happy to get at least one fullback in on the left-hand side before the season starts. It's right around the corner now, so we are pretty close to the first game. We finally got a winger. Once again, we raid FC Copenhagen's Youth Academy, getting this guy, Martin Vest Madsen, on a loan, of course. 1.3k in wages. I don't think that's extremely high for a guy like this. He is coming in as all loan deals are important players. So all our loan deals are of course going to be players that are good enough to be starting in on their spot. And that is this guy, right? He is definitely going to be good enough. Let's accept it and let's check him out. 17-year-old as well. There he is, right? Very, very decent, promising young winger who could potentially, if we do get an injury on our guy up front, Klingenberg. If Klingenberg is getting injured, he could go up there for a couple of games, and he would also be a fairly decent advanced forward. So I think it's just, and he can also be a fairly decent winger on the other side. He doesn't have that massive crossing, or but he is still so good that he could just do it. But of course, because he's a loan deal, they would rather see him. FC Copenhagen would rather see him play on the left-hand side as a winger. And that is probably what's gonna happen. Now, what I really like about this guy is that he is fairly strong on his left foot and on his right foot. So he's very unpredictable. He can go either way. So he can either cross it or just cut in and do stuff. That's really, really good for a winger like this. There is only one thing that is, potentially bad about him, and that's his consistency here. But that seems to be the case for anyone that is younger than 17, like 15, 16, 17. They all have inconsistency because they don't play enough. That's why they're inconsistent. At least what I've noticed is that seems to be the case. But if you see this on someone that is 21 or 22, then we might have a problem. And of course, not injury prone, which is the most important thing here. We only have one guy that is actually technically injury prone right now. So hopefully not a lot of injuries this season. Oh boy, we got a double signing situation now. We got both this guy, who is a fullback, and also a goalkeeper. Right, so let's check out the fullback first. Now, this is the first one that is a completely unnecessary signing for an extra fullback on the left-hand side. Mark Nielsen, likely going to battle it out for the spot with the other guy we brought in before, and the only reason I do take him is that they are about the same level. He only costs 1k, he's a squad player, and the other guy is also a fringe player. That means they can battle it out. Whoever gets that spot, gets that spot. But it is a little bit unnecessary, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I think it would be okay to have double, you know, yeah, decent players down there. But they are, of course, not... Again, it's probably our weak area, so having a little bit extra in our weak area might help out. One of them could develop into something really good, but this guy is 24, so I don't think so. Now again, I think he is about as good as the other guy. I actually didn't compare them, did I? I don't think I ended up comparing them. What was the other? Oh, it's Höst. Matthias Höst here. Yeah, it's probably... Yeah, I think Höst is slightly better, but it's like, I mean, they're pretty much the same player. Pretty much the same player here, but I think maybe Höst is slightly better. So we just have two rather okay options down there now, and you know what, I'm happy with it. Both of them are very much more going forward kind of type of fullbacks. I would say fullback on attack, maybe even wingback on attack, rather than, you know, someone who's staying home and defending. But I mean, he do have the marking and tackling, so I don't know, but he do also have the physicals to go forward and the crossing, so decision making is really good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that extra body, but it is maybe unnecessary. I did want to keep the squad fairly small, and yeah, like I said, this is the first unnecessary signing. But I also did make one signing that we absolutely needed. Gustav Knudsen is coming in. He is a goalkeeper. The main reason why we got him in, he is a loan deal from Vejle. Actually, I think Vejle actually came down this season. They are our rivals, our fierce rivals even. So we're bringing in someone from our fierce rivals. £400, and he is actually on a backup agreed playing time. Perfect for us. Now here's the thing, the reason we need to do this is because I can't really trust the youngster that we have, because the other youngster that we actually, let's go in and check out the release transfer history. And where is it? Future transfer plans, release players. Okay, go one back. So Snape, right? He has been released and he didn't want to take the new contract. And the other player we have that is a goalkeeper as well, I don't think he is good enough. I just don't think he's gonna be good enough. So that's why we got Gustav Knudsen in. And you know what? For 400 wages, I think we got a fairly decent goalkeeper here. Now, the issue is he's only here for 6 months, right? So in the winter, we do need another one coming in. But for the first 6 months, we got this guy as a, you know, a pretty decent second option. So, and he was definitely needed. It was needed. It was 100% needed. So there we are. I think that's going to be the end of the transfer window. Well, it's not the end of the transfer window, but unless someone is coming in for any of our players, I doubt we're going to go out and sign anyone else. So I guess we could move over to the squad planner and check out how it looks. All right, so things definitely look very different in here now. Lots of more numbers, lots of more players, and yeah, let's just see how we think about this, or how I think about this. Maybe we should start up top. I think we have a fairly decent striker situation for ourselves here. Look at this last number. That's the average of all of our players up there, 21.5. That is a fairly good average, I would say, in the green, or almost in the green. Now here's the thing, of course, Madsen and Ngongo is not natural strikers, I would say. So hopefully Klingenberg is never gonna get an injury, because otherwise we might have an issue. But I think Madsen could go up there, and Ngongo could go up there as well as a target forward. It should be okay as long as we don't get too many injuries. And that actually goes for any of the places in this team, because many of these players can play somewhere else, and that's what we're doing here. We don't actually have a big squad. It just looked like we got a big squad, but no, we actually don't. On the left-hand side, we of course got that new guy Madsen in, and I think he looks like a fantastic winger. And we got also Sick, who was one of those that we got in the winter that came in the summer. And also, I think he's the only question mark right now. Like, is he going? Is he staying? He's on, you know, I've listed him on a transfer and on loan. He could be staying, but he could also be going. Like I said, only question mark is probably NJ. I see him as a third option on either spot in the attacking midfield, so, or wingers. It's a question mark, I would say, if he's gonna go or not. Ngongo is the main man on the right hand side. It's actually the only place we didn't really change much, didn't strengthen. Maybe maybe our weak area, or at least maybe one of the weak areas is Ngongo and Sek and NJ. Yeah, because Sek and NJ is not really natural on the right hand side, where Ngongo is. But I don't think Ngongo is, you know, maybe the thing I wanted. But if that's the only thing I didn't get, maybe that's all right then. It's definitely 20.15 average is a little bit low for me. That's maybe a little bit low. But yeah, it is what it is. Midfielders, Sommer is in there, Nemeth. Now, I actually noticed that our manager did use Nemeth on up here, maybe as a deep line playmaker. I didn't actually see if that was the thing, but he did play Nemeth up here and put Sommer down here instead. I don't know if that's gonna be a thing, but Nemeth is unfortunately injured right now. He did get an injury for, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, so he's gonna miss out some of the start to the season, unfortunately. But yeah, it's I mean, it's not a weak area, I would say. West is okay. He didn't get loaned out yet, but he could still get loaned out. Same on the other side here, Poulsen, he could also still be loaned out. But and those are probably some of the better youngsters we have. Actually, West is not a youngster, that's not true. He's 21. Poulsen is a youngster. So Harbo and Gustina, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. 21 and 21 in numbers here. That seems good enough to me. 20.5 in average. Sure, that should be okay. One issue we do have right now is, of course, the DM, because Nemeth is the DM that would play there normally, and he got an injury. So I don't know how he's gonna deal with this, our manager, but I'm not gonna go out and find another DM, I don't think, because Sommer could play down here, Tomaselli could play there, and even Lund, the youngster, could come up and play. I think he's good enough to play there right now. As a youngster, I'm okay with 19.69. His attribute is a little bit low, but his role ability is kind of high for a DM as a youngster. So I think I'm gonna bet on him doing okay if he needs to play in there. Hopefully so. But that might be a little bit weak in terms of squad depth, but again, as long as they don't get too many injuries, we should be fine. Fullback area, well, on the left-hand side, we should be fine now. We have Høst and Nielsen, the two fullbacks we just got in. So they are like 20 points, orange, average, just straight up average. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about them, I would say. And also Softik is probably the third choice out there. But he's probably going to be playing more in here. What I did notice when it comes to the central defenders is, in the friendlies, he did decide to try and play Softik here and Jensen over here, and not play Tursik. So he actually played Jensen and Softik both in there. So we actually only really got 3 central defenders, which is Jensen, Tursik, and Softik. They are the main central defenders. Tomaselli can definitely play a central defender, but I think he's probably more of a defensive midfielder than anything. But he could play down here for sure. So I think we are actually okay here. We got 4 players that can play in those spots. 2 on the left, 3 on the right side, but 4 in total because Jensen can play both places. So again, no injuries, we're good. Then we're good. Not the highest ability, but I think 20 to 21 is now 20.5 to 21. That is totally fine, and we got a couple of players that are of that number here, so I think we should be good. And fullback on the right hand side, we actually, I think that I really hope that old guy Ofosu Aye, he's gonna be good, because he looks promising, I would say. His attribute is there, his role abilities are there, everything, as long as he doesn't get that injury, and he is the injury prone in our team. So there was actually a team coming in for Carlson. I went a little bit over the top. They came in with like 50k or something like that to try and get him, and I went over the top and tried to get 150. They just declined it. If I can get money for him, I would probably do it and find another fullback over here. But like I said, fullbacks are extremely hard to find, at least to some extent. When we talk about quality signings, we can definitely find fullbacks, but just not the quality that we're looking for, probably. So that I might want to, you know, just keep him and maybe even give him a new contract when he runs out in the winter. So there it is. And Tomaselli can also play there, so it should be okay. Goalkeepers, I think we are fine. That youngster looks fairly decent to me. As a youngster, yeah, 17-year-old, and he's on 9.19. That's pretty solid as a second goalkeeper. Yeah, I don't really have any worries there, unless Mosser is getting an injury. Then I'm not happy. But if he needs to play, he's not the worst we could have gotten, that's for sure. So there it is. That's the full squad, and maybe something else will happen. I doubt it, and I also think we're gonna... I think this episode is already quite long, but let's go over to the game and see... yeah, let's just go over there and see, you know, the schedule and stuff. Yeah, there it is. 3 days, it's saying it here, when the next game is coming. 3 days time, then we have the first game against SPR. We did win 3-1 here, 1-0 against Tønderjyske, that's pretty good. So we only actually played 3 friendlies, I think, unless you played... Nope, we didn't. We only decided to go for 3 friendlies. I guess I could have put more in there. So our players might not be quite there when it comes to the... Actually, how are we looking in here? Oh, we are good. I would have thought the team cohesion would be fairly low. That's kind of interesting. So let's take a look at the squad overview here. That's including the under-19 and B team. So... we do have one on trial here. That's Mark Nielsen, but he is coming in. It just got confirmed here, so he will come in. So yeah, he was one of the guys on trial. I have had quite a few on trial here and there, to be honest. So that's the team right there. I'm not sure if we got everyone here. There might be someone of the youngsters not up here, but that's the team, how they look just before we start the season. And let's take a quick look in the Nordic Bet Liga here and check up on season preview before we are closing. Ooh, look at that. We moved up in the world. I think last year and also the year before that, we were like 52 in odds. Now we're 15. That's pretty... so we definitely increased our strength this year. At least the media think that, or the game thinks that we did. That is good. That is excellent news. But I do also think it's going to be a very tough season because both Fredericia and Vejle is here. Fredericia is probably not that good, but Vejle, that's going to be a tough one to beat. But yeah, that's going to be for next episode where we're going to have the first half to play through. Well, I'll probably play through it while... yeah, I'll come back when it's done, basically. Yeah. So there it is, guys. That's the transfer window for our 3rd season, or going into our 3rd season. Hopefully, we can push for some promotion this time. I can't promise it, but it does look like we got a little bit of a better group this time around, and players, of course, as well. Both the staff and the players are better, basically. So, hopefully so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. But this director of football thing, I really hope that Sports Interactive is going to do more things related to that. There's a couple of things they could definitely do that would make it even better, like watching the games as a director of football instead of, that would be lovely instead of only seeing highlights. That would be probably the best thing they could do. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you around next time.